the show, Junkies on 106.7 The Fan. Don't forget, in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll give away a pair of tickets to opening day for Nats Mets at Nats Park. But we're happy to be joined right now on the Mitsubishi Electric Heating Hotline by the head coach of the Washington Capitals, Barry Trotz, joins us this morning. Barry, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Barry, got it. First of all,
Morning,
I want to give you props for coming on, Coach, because we talked about it during the break, and I'm just going to out the other teams. None of the other teams will put a guy on after a loss. None of the college teams, none of the pro teams, only the Caps will do it.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
We do appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I respect that.
Coach, is it good or bad for the team to have a stretch of 4 days off between the loss in Winnipeg and Thursday's game with the Devils? Where do you stand on that this late in the season?
I think ideally you would like to, when you lose a game, you maybe have a day off and get right back at it. I think sometimes this time of the year, you get a few days off, you lose a little bit of momentum or a little bit of urgency. And in this game, it's just like in baseball, you need your swings at the plate, and we just have to work through it as a coaching staff and make sure we get lots of touches. We've had a real hard practice yesterday, trying to keep it as game-like as we can, and just go from there. But the group's pretty good. I think we learned a lesson earlier in the year when we had a little bit of a break, and we went south for a few games, and it took us a little while to get back. So hopefully we'll be ready on Thursday, and I know we will, and we'll take on the Devils.
So when you have 4 days off, Coach, you said you went hard yesterday. Is there one day where you completely just let them have a day at home, or do you have them come in just to stay sharp?
No, I think one of the things that we try to do is you take little pockets. I think just like anybody, when you guys work 5 days a week, 6 days a week, you need that one day. So we'll pick one of the days this week where so we're not on the ice 7 days a week. I think the legs get shot, the mind gets shot a little bit, so you need a little break. So we'll, if we practice well today, maybe we'll pick one of these days, either Friday or tomorrow, to maybe have a real light day or a day off and then get right back at it.
Coach Trotz, is it frustrating that the Caps just seem to be locked into that first wild card slot in the East? Can't break into the top three in the Metro Division. You're right there. You're like 2 points behind the third-place team right now. How important is that to you to get out of that wild card spot, get one of those top three spots in the Metropolitan?
Well, I think number one for me, would like to move up, and that's our goal. But number one goal is to get to the playoffs. I think everything's so close that once you get in, it's really a new season. So yeah, we've been chasing those teams down. We've been just on their boots, back of their heels all year, but we haven't broken. We've broken in for a day or two, and then the other team has gone on a little bit of run or whatever. So it's been a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, to me, the number one thing is getting into the playoffs before anything else. And we have a team like Ottawa who's unbelievable right now, who's had the Hamburglar, as they call him, the goaltender from unknown goaltender, and he's really led the Ottawa Senators right back in the race. So we need to win probably another 5 games out of our just to make sure that we're in right now. So that's sort of our goal.
So I guess it's too early, too soon to actually project, one or two teams that you may face in the postseason.
Well, I think if we don't get out of the one of these wild card spots, I really think it's going to be either Montreal or the Rangers. So
wow,
both those teams are great teams, and but I think at the same time there's not as much distance between the first place team and the eighth place team in this conference.
Coach, what have you learned about this team, now that you're here almost the full season now, from what you came in? What was your perception of the team versus where you are right now? I mean, obviously, you're getting great play from Ovechkin, from Backstrom and those guys. They're proven superstars. You're getting great goaltending from Holtby, obviously. It seems like you improved defense. Seems like the ingredients are in place. Where are you now in terms of what you thought you'd be and what you actually have?
Well, I think in terms of goaltending, Braden's really refined his game with the help of Mitch Korn, but it starts with the player, and he's really bought into what we're doing there. Defensively, with the additions of Warpick and Niskanen, our whole team defense we have a better commitment to that than I think we ever have. The one area that the Caps are always known for is being really, really deep through the forward lines, and one of the trade-offs of letting guys like Grabowski go and Semin and people like that is you're not as deep on the offensive part, but we've still been able to score. Probably the last 10 games or so, we haven't had as much of the secondary scoring that you'd like, and that's something that we have to sort of develop and draft and hopefully sign a guy here or two every year in free agency. But guys like Kuznetsov and Burakovsky and people like that, as they develop, I think will replace all the missing pieces from previous years. But I think the defensive game and the commitment of the group is really, really good. And we're also seeing one of the things that I was reading an article yesterday. A guy like Ovi is having one of the best seasons ever in the history of the game. Just because scoring's down in the National Hockey League, I think the goaltenders are so good these days. But he's having one of those exceptional seasons that goes under the radar because scoring is down across the league. And we're seeing something that people won't recognize until probably years later, that how good a season he is having.
Joined by Barry Trotz, head coach of the Washington Capitals. You talked about impressive goaltenders that you face throughout the league. You've got one in Braden Holtby. Are you concerned at all at any wear and tear on his body at this point? I'm looking at his numbers. He leads the NHL in minutes for goaltenders, 3,744. Is he showing any signs of wear and tear on his body at this point? How's he holding up?
Oh, he's holding up really well, actually. I think what's one of the things that we've done very well with him is when there's time to give him rest. He's one of those guys, I say, like Marty Brodeur is. Marty Brodeur would play a game and get 25 shots a night. But if he didn't play, he would stay on the ice for 3 hours and take 3,000 shots. So Braden's he's got that mindset that if he's not playing, he's probably going to be out on the ice for 2-3 hours and taking shots and all that. So right now his wear and tear is pretty good. I'd like to get in the playoffs and give him a couple more days, and then I think he'd be all set. So until we get that a little mark in the newspaper or online that says that we're in the playoffs, we're going to ride Braden.
Coach, how does the playoffs change a team? In other words, Montreal and the Rangers, if that's one of the teams you have to play, you kind of project and forecast those are going to be low-scoring games. They usually are, because you guys can score. I mean, you guys have scored 212 goals. That's fourth highest in the East. So you guys have no problem scoring goals. But, as in the playoffs, that all changes. And teams get more defensive, and they strap up, and they tighten up. So how are you guys wired that way? Can you guys win a 2-1 game against Montreal or the Rangers?
Well, I think we've proven that this year. That's one of the things that we've changed in the culture with the team is that we're very comfortable in those low-scoring games. I think in the past, they'd be a little bit wide open, and when you get one of those close games, everybody get nervous on the bench and all that. And I even felt that early in the year when we had some close games that we were a little bit nervous and uncomfortable. And one of the things that we tried to do is just to make players comfortable when they're uncomfortable. And we're winning close games, 1-0 games, 2-1 games when we need to, and that's one of the things we talked about is in the playoffs you have to be comfortable in those real close sort of nail-biting games where one mistake or one poor play or a bad penalty can cost you a game. And so we've been trying all year to develop that sort of mentality where we're comfortable with those close games. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that this year.
Since joining the team a few weeks ago, only Alex Ovechkin has more goals than the 4 scored by Curtis Glencross. How's it been adding him into the mix? It seems like he hasn't needed much adjustment time coming from Calgary to D.C.
Yeah, I think Curtis has fit in really well. I think when he's played with Kuznetsov and Brouwer, they seem to be the only other line that's given us any offense lately. And he's fit in pretty well. He's finally got his family here. Moved in to Alex's old house, and hopefully he'll settle in real well. But he's a guy that would be. We got him because we think in the playoffs he's the type of guy that goes to the net. He's the type of guy will get those greasy goals. And in the playoffs, you're not going to get those pretty end-to-end goals. You're going to get those, tip-ins in front of the net, the secondary chances. what we call greasy goals right in the blue paint. So he's done that, and I think it'll be a good fit for us.
Coach, you were in Nashville for many years. It seems like you made the playoffs every single year. What's the difference in like when you're around town, you're out at dinner, you're out at social events? What's the difference in the fans? Because Nashville obviously doesn't strike you as a hockey town. Maybe they became that once you guys got the team. But what's the difference in the fans between Washington and Nashville, in your opinion?
Well, I think in Washington you're a lot more transient, so you got people from all over North America, all over the world, really, and they're a little more familiar with hockey. But one of the sneaky things about Nashville being there so long is it's grown into a real good hockey town. And I was really surprised when I came back here how much of a hockey town Washington has become, how passionate the fans are, how knowledgeable the fans are. That wasn't maybe the case 20 years ago. So probably Nashville is very similar to Washington. It's just behind the curve because it started a lot later.
Coach, the Devils come into your building later this week on a Thursday. This is a team that's out of the playoff contention at this point, unless they go on some ridiculous heater. How do you get the team focused on beating a team that's basically struggling to try to make the playoffs? How do you keep them ready for this game against the Devils coming in on Thursday?
Well, I think we're going to talk about urgency tonight or this afternoon when we practice. Is that you just have to look at the standings. We're not in till you're in, and you look at our schedule. Really, I think we need to win 3 of the next 4. Then we go on the road, and we've got some teams that are, we've got Boston, we've got Ottawa, we've got Detroit, we've got some really good teams that are trying to get a little higher in the playoffs, or we're in the playoffs, and then we're finishing up with teams like Boston and the Rangers. So we can do ourselves a favor by going on a little bit of a 3 or 4 game run here and securing a spot and pulling ourselves away from at least the teams that are in 9 and 10, and make sure that we're in the playoffs. So it's really in our hands. No, they can't catch us if we win our game. So if we get in, it'll be because we did the right things.
Coach Trotz, thank you so much for the time. It's Barry Trotz, head coach of your Washington Capitals. We're hoping for 2 more points on Thursday against the Devs. Thanks again.
Keep it going. Thank you, Coach.
All right, take care.
All right, buddy. Yeah, appreciate having Coach on.
I feel good about Thursday.
You do? You got a good vibe?
Don't jinx it like Cakes did the Winnipeg game.
And I'll tell you why.
Stay 100 miles away.
I'm officially getting out of the guaranteeing wins business. It's
right.
lose-lose.
I won't go that far.
Yeah.
I just think that having 4 days off really helps the team this late in the season. I think they'll come back fresh.
Yeah.
They'll be energetic. It's a home game coming off that stinger against Winnipeg. I think they get it done. I think they win that game like 4-1, 5-1.
You know what?
That's a cover.
And New Jersey's not that good, right?
Oh, please. They have 73 points.
Yeah,
they're
they're not that
knobs.
He has to be this way as the coach.
Yeah.
Always almost look worst case. But he keeps talking about the fact we haven't locked up this playoff spot yet.
Hey,
We're kind of. I know as a fan, I'm kind of taking this for granted.
It's pretty much locked up. Now, we can say that, but
he said it 100 times.
He can't. He's
we
the
haven't locked it up yet.
Well, coach is notoriously paranoid, AB. We all know this.
I know.
Well, I mean, let's see. They're still 5 points ahead of the next team.
I'm taking it as a given we're in the playoffs. He certainly didn't sound that way.
Unless they go on some sort of catastrophic tailspin.
Right.
They're in.
How many times did he reference, well, we still got to take care of our business. We still got to get there.
Yeah.
He was talking about Ottawa, but Ottawa looks like they're in as a wild card. Boston's got 84 points, and then Florida has 80. But no other team has a shot.
Yeah.
I was taking it as a given. I thought we were comfortably in.
They're not going to miss the playoffs.
Pretty much a given, EB.
No
I've been
chance.
taking it that way, but Coach was doing his coach. He was doing his Lou Holtz.
They're going to win Thursday. They'll have 90 points.
If the Caps miss the playoffs, the Caps Nation's going to come over and burn my house down.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can get everybody out in time.
Nah, they're in, Cakes.
Yeah, it's looking good. All right, don't forget, coming up later in the show in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to give you a chance to get into Nats Mets for free on opening day. So you got to keep listening for your chance to win.